Hello, world. This is CuzTheInternet podcast. I'm your host, Trey.
I'm your Jose. Let's get into it. Rihanna's pregnant.
Yes, sir.
Whoopi.
Just
Speaking
started
of
off
Whoopi.
with it. Nice.
But no, we're going to talk about the Rihanna first because I definitely want to talk about Whoopi, but Rihanna. I mean, congrats to her and ASAP. I mean, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm happy for them. I saw a post that bothered me. It was Drake unfollows both of them.
Yeah.
Now, no one can be in their feelings that much. I refuse to believe anybody's in their feelings that much. I believe it was more of a calculated thing where, okay, obviously the news is going to be about them, but if I do something, the news about them will have news on me as well. So they started making the memes about him, like being at her house already crying when they were there, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I feel like he did that just to get publicity so people will talk about Drake unfollows them amid them announcing baby.
Yeah.
And I feel like it was calculated. I feel like that's the reason why he did it. But I also feel like that was tasteless. Like, who cares? You knew they were in a relationship. You followed them.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would unfollow them just because now she's pregnant. You thought you had a chance with her before she got pregnant. I don't get it.
So, all right. One, are we sure this is true and not just, somebody putting that up there? Because I don't bother even fact checking when it comes to half of these things. Like, which call follows which call? Like, I really don't know. So I'm just saying, are we sure this is true? Did it come from a reliable source?
Yeah, it came from Hip Hop DX. And then after that was said, Rick Ross posted he needs Wingstop and that'll make him happy. So
yeah. All right. So then yes, most likely reliable source. Two, I think it depends. Like, regardless, it is tasteless because it's like raining on somebody's parade. Like it's a beautiful moment, and then you have to come and try to dampen it. So I agree, tasteless. But now, depending on how close him and ASAP Rocky were, I'm just saying, realistically, depending on
then
how
you should have
close
stopped following her when they got together.
Well, yeah,
or
stop following both of them. Yeah, I agree.
Exactly.
I agree. I'm just trying to say, like, maybe it's like, yo, you know what? I don't want to. He could be in his feelings. I'm just giving this as an example. I don't know. All speculatory. Have no clue. But I'm just saying, if he's in his feelings from when they got together, but he knows if I put this up, everyone's gonna be like, "Oh, you're bad," you know what I mean? Just for that. So leave it alone. But he's still in his feelings, depending on especially how close him and ASAP are. If they were actually close in any kind of way, he might just be like, but he just doesn't want the world to know that he's hurting. But then at this point, he's just like, you know what? You got her pregnant now too, me? Dead the friendship. I don't care what anyone says, yo. You already know what it was. And again, I don't know. I'm just saying that's the only way I could see that being like, it's still not cool. It's still tacky. It's still all of this. But I'm just saying, if you just tried to ignore them and you didn't want to give any light to it, so you're like, I'm not going to unfollow them because everyone will be saying what they're saying now. But then now it's just like the breaking point of like, yo, you guys went too far. So just giving that as an example.
Have you ever unfollowed anybody?
All the time.
Okay, so now, have you unfollowed them for valid reasons or is it because you were in your feelings?
Both. Definitely both. Both I've unfollowed, and I've unfollowed months, even maybe a year after somebody is like, and I've thought about it like, yo, I don't even like that person. And I've unfollowed them. So that's why I'm trying to say, like, it's very possible.
I don't know. I don't unfollow people.
Oh, I haven't followed.
I mean, I personally don't follow people that I would have to unfollow to begin with. But even if I feel like you did something messed up, it was never that detrimental to me or to my health, to my well-being, for me to say, you know what, I'm going to stop messing with you. I'm not even going to follow you. I mean, hey, at the end of the day, I'll still like your post. I still want to see you.
No.
Just
wanting to see someone win is totally different. Like I wish success on everybody, to be honest, because I really do. But now, me liking your posts, or even just, if I just don't like you, I don't even want to be fake on a, well, like, I just leave it alone. You get what I mean? I'd rather just unfollow, don't mess with you. I'd rather that than, you know what I mean? Have this fake, like, why would I fake it with you, bro? Like, so
And see,
I'd
this is
rather
the thing.
cut it.
It's not necessarily me being fake
Mhm.
with them.
Mhm.
I mean, I didn't like what they did, but at the end of the day, hey, you're still doing what you do. I wish you the best. I'm not going to downplay you. I'm not going to talk bad about you. My experience with you may have been bad, but hey, other people's experience with you may have been golden. So this is why it's like, hey, you know what? Do you just, you lost me as a customer, quote unquote, but
So let me put it this way then. Now, if you are like, you know, it is what it is, but regardless of what situation happened, if that still messes with you or plays in your mind, at that point, do you think it would be worth cutting it off? Or do you think like you just, it's up to you to get over it? Because me, that's the whole point. Like if I replay something that's bothered me with an issue with a person, that's when it's like, yo, let me cut it off. You know what I mean? Rather than keep that energy around me, even though. So that's how I see it.
Well, I mean, it definitely is up to you to create your own peace. So I mean, if cutting them off is to protect your peace, by all means, go for it. But once again, whatever happened with me and people, it's never been anything crazy where I was like, yo, this is messed up. Like every time I see them, I cringe. And no, it's just, what happened with me happened with me. I wish you all the best, but I won't be supporting. I'll still like the stuff you do, but I'm not going to go out of my way to like, personally purchase anything from it. That's it.
I got you on that. So with all this being said, now, so we already said, I gave you a whole synopsis of maybe they were cool, him and A$AP Rocky and da-da-da, you know, all that situation, right? Now, in one of Drake's prior songs, forgot the name of it, he alludes to Rihanna and having a baby and, you know, and all this stuff and basically why they couldn't work, right? In one of his previous songs. So I have a question. With a side piece, right? Like this goes to our female viewers as well, but I'm asking you. So hypothetically, with a side piece, is there any rule of etiquette? Like, so as far as we have a bro code, right? Like if that's your girl, if that's even your ex-girl, there's certain way, like you can't just do something with someone's ex. You gotta, you know, confirm that it's okay. If that's your girl, just completely off limits. These are the rules. What are the rules for the side piece? Like, is it you off limits or is it like,
okay, hold on. Who's the side piece in this scenario?
I'm just saying, let's say Rihanna was Drake's side piece, right?
See,
so if
this is exactly
A$AP
why
Rocky
I'm asking the question.
goes in and swoops her up, is that okay if they're boys?
Oh, okay. To be fair, if it's bro code, once like we have something, you cannot or should not want it because as far as you're concerned, that's my, and this is only for purposes of me explaining things. I don't agree with it. I don't
educational purposes, strictly educational.
Exactly.
I got you.
But look at her as that's my second wifey. You cannot have her. You should not swoop her up. You shouldn't try to wine and dine her. No.
Okay.
So treat her with the same respect you'll treat wifey with.
Oh.
Now, unless I tell you, but but unless I tell you like, nah, that's just like it is what it is. Like, if they're like, yo, you might go for it, but don't take it upon yourself to be like, well, he has wifey and this is wifey. I can like, no.
Okay.
Have a conversation with me first. Because there are some dudes out there who have their wifey and be like, yeah, I'm not feeling her. You know what? I'm trying to make this one wifey and I'm testing out the waters and trying to see what it goes on. And we don't know if that's going to be wifey. So this is why some people would be like, no, you can't. People don't know. So this is why I'm saying, don't just take it upon yourself to do what you do.
So
talk
I get
to your
that.
people if that's your boy.
Okay, I get that part. So now let's say she's choosing. So let's say she's all over your man's, right? is that still one of those situations you still want him to come to you and be like, yo, is it okay?
So my question is, am I out with her and she goes over to my boy and she's all over my boy? Or they
No,
see each other somewhere and I'm not around and this is happening. He comes back and
exactly.
tells me.
Well, maybe he tells you or not. That's the question. Does he have to come back and tell you? Let's say he's out and about, she's out and about, and she sees him, she's all over him. What's the rules of conduct? Does he have to like turn it down that night and come back and tell you? Like, what does he have? What's the rules?
Well, if he's my boy, he'd come back and tell me.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I feel. But I mean,
Okay.
if he doesn't tell me, he doesn't tell me. But then there's a problem between us because if I go back to her and say he went back and he messed with her, beat it up, and doesn't say anything to me. And now it comes around and now I bring her around and now they're acting funny. And I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Because once again, it depends on the feeling that you have for this person. If it's just what it is, then hey, you didn't care to begin with. But if this is somebody you were like, you know what, I think this is wifey and I want to make her number one and yada yada yada, and this happens, then it's like that can crush you. So if you're really my boy, talk to me about it and we'll go from there. But
okay.
Luckily for me, I wouldn't be in that position because I ain't want it.
Big facts, big facts. Good answer. Good answer.
Hold on. Back to ASAP. Sorry.
Yeah.
And Drake. Once again, hip hop nowadays, everybody is on the kumbaya, we're all friends tip. When in reality, they're all secretly going against each other because everybody wants to be number one.
Yeah.
So I don't think, like, obviously, I believe they're acquaintances. They know each other. Hey, if they see each other, they'll probably hail each other up. But I don't think they'll holler at each other, be like, yo, what's good? What are you saying this weekend? Oh, run true. Da, 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 da. I don't think any of that stuff was happening. So, I mean, him dating Rihanna after Drake, I mean, same thing could be said for Chris Brown and Drake.
Yeah.
Chris Brown was with her for how many years?
But that's why they had beef.
I mean, I get it. But, I mean, it's not to say they were best friends either.
No, I
mean,
get you.
You couldn't be best friends if that was the case. You speak to the person. But you know what?
Yeah.
It's neither here nor there. We don't know. It's all speculation. This is all he said, she say, alleged, whatever it is. We don't know what their status is. But you know what? At the end of the day, congratulations to ASAP, Rihanna.
Definitely.
The best, healthy baby.
Yeah, definitely a blessing.
And Drake, you know, he's gonna come up with some fire music because he's like, yo, he's gonna be on his Mary.
Big facts, and a bunch of subliminals to ASAP too. A bunch of subliminals. Yeah, it's gonna be good.
Yep.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, but now back to
Whoopi.
Okay, for those that don't know, she was on her show, The View, and she made comments about the Holocaust. She said something along the lines of, it wasn't about race, it was more about humanity.
Yeah.
And so people got upset about it. They suspended her for 2 weeks. And now allegedly she is upset about the suspension and she's looking to leave The View.
Yeah.
First off, what are your thoughts on the whole situation?
Okay, so you want to get me suspended too, I see. No. So my thoughts are, now, she is entitled, like everyone's entitled, the opportunity to question and anything. Even though we might not agree, I think she has the right to question. Even though it might sound ignorant, she has the right to question. So I think naturally canceling people, suspending them for having open dialogue is actually doing more harm than anything, because there's going to be people that have the same questions. I'm not saying whether it's right or wrong, but that have the same questions. And now you're just making them feel oppressed and making them feel as though now they can't even question something without being condemned for it. So I personally think that that she was wrong because it literally was over race. Like, I don't think that's something you could debate. Now, if you want to break it down into what is race really, and if you want to bring it into a whole different conversation, you can. But legit, Hitler said that Jews were the inferior race. Like, it's not like this is something that is, no, that's what was said. So that's what it was about. Now, she was breaking it, in my opinion, more of a humanity versus humanity and bad versus evil and stuff. So I get where she was going with it, but in actuality, she was wrong as far as what it was about. How do you feel about it?
Okay. So on what you just said, she apologized for what she said.
Yes.
They also did have somebody come on and explain where she was wrong in what she said.
Exactly. The next day. Yeah.
Exactly. So this is why them suspending her now, in my opinion, wasn't fair. It didn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, she is Black.
Yeah.
And she is thinking from a Black standpoint.
Yeah.
She's never been white. She's never been Jewish. She understands. She stands with the Jewish people, hence her using the stage name Goldberg.
Yeah.
So she respects them. She has love for them and everything. Now, for us, Black people can't be racist towards Black people. We can be prejudiced towards Black people, but we can't be racist towards our own kind. So because we have that type of mentality, maybe that's how she went into it thinking, because they were both of lighter hues. They can't be racist towards each other.
Yeah.
They can be prejudiced towards each other.
Yeah.
But she was breaking it down like, you know what? It's not about race because racist. She's like, it's about humanity.
Yeah.
They were inhumane towards the Jewish community. Yeah. They need to show more compassion, be more humane towards them, and so on and so forth. Obviously, what she said was corrected. She stood corrected.
Yeah.
She accepted it. She understood. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
It was a learning experience for everybody. For all of us who think you can't be racist towards your own kind, yes, you can be. We found this out. Okay. But then she was suspended for 2 weeks because she said what she thought. Like, freedom of speech is no longer free. There's a price to pay for your speech. And it bothers me so much.
Yeah.
Now to go back, okay? So she was suspended for 2 weeks. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Trump was in office and he wanted to build the wall, Kelly Osbourne was on it. And she was sticking up for us, or people of color, saying he wants to build the wall. So that when he builds the wall, who's going to come and clean our toilets? Now, we understood where she was coming from. But that was definitely extremely racist.
Yeah, definitely.
They spoke to her. She apologized. She knew what she said was wrong. Was she suspended? I don't believe she was suspended. Definitely should have done your
research on that, but I don't know.
I looked for it. I really did look for it, and I didn't see anything. So I was like, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, okay.
I don't think she was suspended.
Right I'm like,
but see, that's the thing. So when you talk about any other race, I mean, hey, it's a learning experience. Everybody can forgive and forget. It's fine. But when you talk about races of lighter hues and you are fact checked and you're corrected and you apologize and you give your wholehearted apology, they still find a way to be upset about it and suspend you for 2 weeks because of what you said. That's not fair. I really don't find it fair at all. She shouldn't have been suspended. And what she said is not to say she said, you know what, Holocaust was light. I mean, it's not as bad as slavery. She didn't say anything like that. She wasn't comparing it. She was just saying they were inhumane.
Yeah.
She's not wrong for saying that because they really were.
They were. It's just that it wasn't a whole story to the situation.
Exactly. Yes. So this is what my whole gripe with that was. But anyways, I digress. That was my whole issue with that. I don't think she should have been suspended for 2 weeks.
I agree.
And I wouldn't be mad if she left The View and went elsewhere and did other things. But then again, it's a conversation for another day, because you know what? We're a dime a dozen. They get rid of one of us, they can put another person in, and hey,
Definitely for the right
it's
price.
business as usual.
Yeah.
Now, with all that being said,
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
So
JRP.
Whoopi was canceled or suspended for 2 weeks for stuff that she's done, she said, not knowing.
Yeah.
Joe Rogan, which I like him. I can't. Anyways, I'm going to ask you to speak first so I can gather my thoughts, because I know it's going to be all over the place and I'm trying to make it as linear as possible. Go, if you don't mind.
Okay, use big words then. So Joe Rogan, leaving Spotify. Neil Young left. And what's her name now?
Arie.
Arie left as well. Neil Young because of his stance on the vaccine, and Arie because of comments he's made in the past on Black people, right? So now, as far as I think that, like you said, freedom of speech isn't free. I think that the one thing is to leave, and again, this is me, maybe because I'm biased on it, but I think it's one thing to leave if you have different views on someone making maybe racist comments. I could respect you leaving, you know, a platform if you view the way their stance as being racist towards a group or to yourself. I get that. But now leaving a platform because you have a different view on a vaccine, where he's not been, in my opinion, pro or against. He's just really into questioning and saying it's not for him, but he's actually brought people on his platform on both sides of the spectrum to speak about it. I personally think that, in my opinion, that shows ignorance on people that are leaving due to that reason, because it's like you are not open-minded enough to have a conversation with somebody and learn or teach. So at that point, good riddance to Neil Young for that, and other artists that have left as well. And I don't think people realize, I think Joe Rogan, because I heard Arie say that he's got 100 million and they're only making 0.3 cents, 30 cents on the penny or something like that, right? People don't realize that Joe Rogan's podcast gets inward of around 11 million views each episode a week. So it's not comparable. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to diss anybody's album sales, discography, listening, whatever it's called. I'm not trying to diss them, but Joe Rogan is a different level of entertainment at this point in time. So they definitely would be ignorant and stupid, just business-wise, to not back him. You know what I mean? He is bringing in the content, the viewers, the money, the listening. Because remember, his shows are like 3 hours long, 2-3 hours long. And for 11 plus million people watching it every week, you could stand against him if you want to, but it's most likely a losing battle, right? So, but yeah, I don't see anything, in my opinion, I say bounce if you cannot be on a platform with someone that has different views as you. Again, not saying right or wrong, but different views. I think that just shows that you're closed-minded yourself. So that's how I feel about it. How about you?
The truth is, okay, he's entitled to his opinion. He said what he said. He, like you said, he's brought on people who are pro-vaccine, anti-vax. He's getting information from both. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Now it's like the analogy you were going to give. Don't touch the stove. Why not? You're not giving an answer why you shouldn't touch a stove, so you're questioning things.
Mhm.
Now, somebody will say, okay, well, the stove is hot. Okay, well, the stove is hot. But I have never touched a stove myself, so I don't know if it's hot. But maybe that one time I did touch the stove was cold. It's because the stove wasn't on. Have a dialogue.
Yeah.
This way, okay, it will make sense, and hey, they can come to like
they can respect what you're saying. They'll understand.
Exactly.
They can see where you're coming from. Exactly.
But just to be like, oh well, yeah, whoever doesn't get it is stupid. Oh well, he's spreading false false news saying the vaccine will do this and don't get it. Well, I don't want to be on this platform with him anymore. Okay. He's the cash cow. People are not gonna run after you saying, okay, no, please stay. They're gonna say, okay, well, Joe's bringing in 11 million viewers an episode. You'll probably have 11 million listens for the year.
Exactly.
So it's like, I'm not really going to fight you on this. It is what it is. Also, with Arie leaving because of the pay structure and stuff like that, I mean, you know what? I respect her wishes.
Yeah, you're entitled to it.
Go where you're celebrated.
Exactly.
I mean, if they're not paying you enough here, you can go somewhere else where they'll pay you more.
Yeah.
Do you. Like, I'm not mad at you for doing it.
Yeah.
People negotiate their own pay. So if you go somewhere and you say, hey, I want to get paid $15 an hour. And they say, okay, cool. And then you find out the person who got hired at the same time as you is making $20 an hour. Well, why? Because they asked for $20 an hour. You can't be mad now saying, well, I deserve $20 an hour. Well, no, you deserve $15 an hour because you asked for $15 an hour.
Exactly.
So it's one of those things. Like, but that's neither here nor there. Back to him saying the N-word now.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to stick up for him. I'm not trying to say what he did was right, wrong. I mean, the truth is, you have to see everything in the whole context to find out why he said what he said, how he said what he said. I saw clips of him talking about things of Planet of the Apes, and it brought me back to Kevin Hart when he wanted to host the Oscars, and he said, yo, it was a lifelong dream of his to want to host the Oscars.
Yeah.
He finally gets the opportunity to do it. They bring up old tweets of him being homophobic, and they want an apology from him. He's already apologized for it. So why do you need another apology for something that was said years ago? People grow and they change from back then till now. If you know better, you do better. He's been doing better. A lot of people have been doing better.
Yeah.
So to hold that against them, hold that over their head for the rest of their lives. Oh, well, you see what you said 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 15, like, please stop. Like, we need to stop trying to do this whole cancel culture thing and try to tear people down just because I guess they do something we don't like. So it's like, okay, bring up all the bad things that they've done. And so this way they won't be able to progress in life. Like, no, get over it. So him saying what he said, I mean, the clips I've seen, he had hair. We know he don't have hair. So that was several years ago. So you know what? He could have learned and grew from that situation. We don't know. We also don't know what the context was that he was saying it in. Maybe if we hear the whole thing out, we can be like, okay, you know what? I get what he's saying. He didn't mean it in a racist way. He was explaining it as XYZ. Or maybe he did mean it in a racist way. We don't know. But you need to see things in its proper context or its full context, as opposed to clips and pieces where we're just going to take whatever we think and run with it. Now, the whole him saying the N-word over and over and over again, once again, I would have to see the full thing in its proper context, because I can be completely honest and fair saying when people are with their own race behind closed doors, they may say some wild and outlandish things. And they may say it as a joke. It's supposed to be funny. It is what it is. It might be funny in that setting, but if anybody else were to hear it, they'd be like, that's messed up. Like, golly. And so this is why, okay, you say things or you don't say things at all, but we know people think things. So to condemn people for thinking things, anyways, another story. But then also with Okay, his platform.
Mhm.
His people come to him, they watch his show, they know what he's about.
Yeah.
So he'll say whatever he says, however he says it. People know, they'll come and they'll watch him. Spotify knows he's the cash cow. So with all these clips coming up, I doubt they will ever suspend him for anything he said, because he brings in views, he brings in money for them.
Mhm.
As opposed to Whoopi, where she's expendable.
Yeah.
We can suspend her for 2 weeks. It is what it is. I saw people comparing the two, saying, well, how come Whoopi was suspended for that, but he won't be? Well, because there are two different, like I said, his fan base, they
Yeah.
come to him to watch him, as opposed to Whoopi being on like daytime TV,
Yeah.
and a lot of the viewers being
Yeah.
older.
We've seen it with The View regardless. Like, they could put one person in, take one person out, put another person in. Like, they've done it already. So again, it's not even a shocker that, she is expendable. The View is a brand. Everybody in it is, you know what I mean? Just a part of the brand. But Joe Rogan himself is the brand. So
Exactly.
I fully agree with you. Now, as far as the racist comments, right? Or yeah, I guess racist. I don't know if I even see them racist, but him saying the N-word. So again, like I heard you say, he might have grown from it depending on how it was said. Also, context matters. And my main argument is the context matters, not even necessarily whether he's grown or not. I just need to know why he was saying it in what context. Now, I've heard the clip of the Planet of the Apes stuff. Of course, you could say maybe something's distasteful, but I think maybe it's because I'm a 90s baby, 80s, 90s baby. I see things differently. So my humor is a little bit more
But see,
rough.
he's also a comedian as well.
No,
So
but
this is
that's
why
what
I'm saying.
But that's what I'm
No,
saying.
I'm agreeing with
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Like other people would be like, oh, well, he's also a comedian. He's a comedian.
Yeah.
He's an actor. So
Yeah.
why are we mad? He's a comedian. Some people do things for shock value. So why are we mad at this? But
And
go
that's
on.
what I'm saying. So it's just like when he's saying that he went into a neighborhood or whatever, it was like the Planet of the Apes. For me, it's like, of course it's racist. Of course it's wrong. But I think maybe because maybe I might be desensitized towards it. Who knows? But to me, it's like slapstick comedy. I could see someone saying like it's not that shocking to me. To be honest, it's like, okay, I get what he's trying to say. Ha ha, giggle. It's not that somebody's just directly racist. It's like, again, I could hear so many comedians talk about so many races saying these things about every other races. I've heard it so many. So now that him saying Planet of the Apes, am I going to be offended to that? No, it's because I understand if it's put in the right context, even though it sounds so wrong, mind you, but if it's put in the right context, he's trying to make a joke about something. Like I've heard so many make jokes about something. I've heard Dave Chappelle, and which I'm a huge fan of, and I'm not saying to cancel Dave Chappelle now, but I've heard him legitimately imitate Asian people and the way they talk. You get what I mean? But if you just play that clip, he would be canceled for that. You understand what I'm saying? So I think that everybody does, especially with a comedian, they are searching for the joke. They might miss it, but that's what they're going for. That's what they want. Now, him saying the N-word, again, context matters. If he's just looking at a picture of a black man and just saying that's or whatever, or if he's saying a story, he could be like, yo, I was walking down the street and then this racist guy looks at this black guy and he's like, you, da da da. If he's telling a story that way, do I think that he's racist for saying it? Half the time, and I know I might be on an island, I hate when people say the N-word, especially if I know that you most likely say the N-word like in your everyday life. And then just because I'm around, you're like, and then he said the N-word. I'm like, this motherfucker want to say nigga. Like, I know you want to say nigga. So that bothers me even more sometimes than I'm not saying for people just to say the N-word all the time. That's not what I'm trying to say. What I'm trying to say is context matters. And I think that even Arie when she said it, she was like, of course, this could just be a bunch of clips put together and it could be taken out of context. I just don't think you should be saying it out. And I respect that. And I respect her opinion on that. Cool. I can't even argue that. But even with her saying that, you acknowledge that it could be taken out of context. So by acknowledging that, understand that some people might not mind it as much, like, because depending on the context it was said.
Her whole thing is, he's a white male using the N-word.
Yeah.
No matter what kind of context he's using it in, he shouldn't say it, period. Say the N-word if you have to, but don't say it. And her being a strong Black female, she's like, I'm not going to stand for that. I don't want to be on the same like
and which
streaming platform as this.
I respect it.
Yeah,
but
I respect it as well.
Mind you, my opinion, I don't find any other word has so much pain and suffering and vitriol behind it as that word, right? I really don't. But with that being said, there's certain words I use just in my everyday life when I'm telling a story, when I'm whatever. Now, if you were trying to police me from saying those words, I would be offended, especially if I'm saying it with nothing behind it. If I'm just telling you a story about something, and now you're just like, no, you can't say that. I'll be like, that's not where it's coming from. I'm like, that's the only way for me to say it. Like, I don't know how else to say it. So again, I'm not saying not giving him an out. All I'm trying to say is, in my opinion, context does matter. That's all I'm trying to say.
I agree. I really do agree as well. So, speaking of racist content that can be taken out of context or needs explanation, whatever you want to call it. There was a city in Quebec, south of Montreal, where they handed out homework, and it was to define a gangster. And the two drawings that they had were of people of color. They looked like they were Black. They could have been Mexican. They could have been whatever. If you see the picture, you'll know what I'm talking about. But it was definitely people of color, not white people. And a father of one of the children who's had this for homework deemed it racist, brought it to the news and spoke about it, and people are speaking out about it. Now, my whole problem with that is they are painting this narrative and instilling this in young children's minds that this is what gangsters look like.
Yeah.
So now when they get older and they see people who look like you and I, they will now deem us as gangsters or threats. And these young people who grow up to be police officers, they will now remember their teachings about gangsters and this is what they look like. So shoot first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
That's what my whole issue is with this. It's definitely not right. Something needs to be done about this.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know who you cancel with this, but what's the worst that's going to happen now? They're going to take that away from homework. That's not going to be there, but the damage has already been done.
Definitely.
So I don't even know what I want to be done about this situation, but I just know something should be done. Now, my question is, how do you feel about that whole
situation?
Yeah.
Now, so I think that it's disgraceful. It's disgusting. And it was such a cop out. I believe they said that the teacher or whomsoever, and this might just be hearsay, but that she just found 2 images off the internet and like put it like, those are the images you found, really?
Exactly.
Like those, and that says more about you. Those are the images that you found. But sorry, go ahead.
To be fair, though, to be completely fair, if you go on the internet right now and you Google Black children, you'll see them in like orange jumpers. Don't fact check me on this because I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive that I'm right. You'll see them in like orange jumpers, like dark pictures, looking like criminals and scary and so on and so forth. But then if you look up white like children, you'll see them like jumping, playing, sunshine, rainbows in the background. So it's what they brainwash people slowly but surely. So her saying, you know what, going on the internet saying gangsters. that could have definitely been the first two images that popped up because she was like, okay,
But
cool.
that's not my point. My point is that it says more about her, that she doesn't see
Hmm.
something wrong with those pictures. It's not about it being the first pictures that you see. I could Google something and see those are the first pictures, but that doesn't mean that I don't see it as being wrong. And that's my point. She, regardless
But
of if whether those are the first two or not, she consciously should have seen them as wrong. That says more about her and maybe what she was brought up to believe. But go
but
ahead.
but that's it. When you know better, you do better.
But that's
She
my
may not
point.
have known any
But
better.
these
So
are the
this is what
people teaching the kids. That's the problem. So I get what you're saying, and we could cop it out and say she didn't know better, but that's a problem if she didn't know better. And this is what she is teaching kids to not know better. And that's why there needs to be a reform in all of these teachings. They need to look at the what is being taught to these kids and not just take it for granted that, okay, well, we're in a new millennium, a new decade, and kids are learning. No, because these are things passed down and passed down. She might be racist without realizing she is racist, and that's even more dangerous.
I believe a lot of
And
people are racist without
and
being
that's
believing they're racist.
and that's my point. That's exactly
Hmm.
what I'm saying. Because I can believe those could have been the first two images that she saw. It's possible, but that says so much that you thought it was okay. That means that you need to do some reflecting and understanding and actually reconstruct your brain in realizing that just seeing
But
black people. Okay.
now, hear me out.
Yeah.
Once again, it's not to say I'm giving excuses. I'm not saying
Mhm.
she's right or she's wrong for it.
Yeah.
Once again, if you don't know any better, you can't do any better. If she just went and looked up gangsters and saw it and she was like, okay, two images I saw, I'm putting it up. It is what it is. She didn't think anything was wrong with it because, hey, she Googled it. This is what came to her. This is what she saw. Now, if, okay, for example, I had this conversation with Miggs, and he was saying he worked with this dude,
Mhm.
and this dude, a white dude, and he was like, yo, he's like, I'm going to be honest with you. He's like, back in the day, like when I was a kid growing up, he's like, he grew up north of Toronto, south of Toronto, somewhere.
Mhm.
Not in Toronto, but in Ontario somewhere. And it was predominantly white. It was what it was. He was one of the lower class whites
Okay.
in that area. And he used to go around saying the N word, doing the thing, but he didn't know any better because in that area, everybody just did what they did. It was what it was. He got older, so on and so forth. And then one day, I guess he said it around the wrong people. They drape him up. And then that's when he realized there was something wrong with what he was saying. And
Mhm.
then he took it upon himself to learn and do better by himself and by people of color. So that's the only way people learn when they're told.
And that's
She,
the point. This is the drape up right now. That's what I'm giving
well,
her. And that's what the
exactly.
world
And
needs to give her. That's what the world needs to give the school, though. Because again, that's why the school needs to actually look at their curriculum and why they feel as though whether they're not paying attention to what the teachers are giving out or whatnot, but they need to look at what's been going on in their schools. They need to do a deep dive in it. Okay, go ahead.
I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
Mhm.
I completely understand it. But at the end of the day, okay, you see how when Black Lives Matter movement started and all types of CEOs and presidents and owners of companies are like, you know what, we're going to become more diverse. And we're going to go to the top of the food chain, white. And then right underneath him, white. And underneath them, white. And underneath them, white. And then here, it's white, white. And then person of color. And then down here is where they're diversified.
Mhm.
Okay. So all these people up here who said they were going to do things really didn't do much. They just hired a couple more people of color, just like this school. Now, if they don't know anything is wrong, if this is what they've been taught their whole life, for them to even look at the homework and say, okay, let me just make sure what they're handing out is proper. If they don't know any better, they can't do any better. They can't say, you know what, this is not right. They need people of color to fact check them and be like, yeah, no. Like when Gucci and Burberry and all them put those races, like the turtleneck with the black lips and the noose around the hoodie. They need people to fact check them, but because they are who they are, they were like, okay, well, yeah, everything's good. Yeah, you like it. Okay, let's put it out. And it's only when black people saw him, we're like, that's racist. Let's take it back. I'm sorry. Just like this school, because it's in a school in Quebec, it's a lot of French white people. So they don't know any better, or they may not have known any better.
Or they do
and
know
now
better.
They're learning. Pardon?
Or they do know better.
See, like we said, a lot of people are racist and not know it.
And a lot of people are racist and knowing.
Yeah, I understand.
So.
But in this case, I mean, it could go either way. We don't know. But with all this backlash, I'm hoping now they're going to start doing their homework and research and fixing things and making things better. So you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's time for Tales of the Internet. Interwebs. All right. Internet. Why are we still doing this? Okay. This post reads as follows. My dying wife asked me if I'd be okay if she had sex with her ex one last time. So that was the post. And I'm going to give you a little bit of context because, I mean, there was a lot to read in it, but I'll give you a little bit more of the meat on the bone. So basically, the husband and wife together for a decade. She has been deemed ill. She has 9 months to live. So after the first 4 to 5 months, she's going to be in a wheelchair. She'll be in a wheelchair for up until she's 8 months. And then after 8 months, she's going to be bedridden until the end of her days.
Yeah.
And so he is trying to make everything better for her, make sure she's happy in her last couple of months on Earth.
Yeah.
And basically, she asked him if she can have sex with her ex one last time before she dies. And she then goes on to say, basically, sex with her husband is cool, but sex with him was out of this world. And she just wants that one last time. So now he's torn because he's like, how are you going to disrespect me like that? But I also want my wife to be happy on her last days on this earth. So my question for you is, what do you think about that whole situation?
I think she ain't your wife. She for the streets, right? Like, yo, she got 9 months. Gee, man, you need to let it go, man. Let her be with him for the rest of the 9 months. Let him take care of her. Let him wipe her butt, yo. She go, let me figure that out. If that dingling is worth that much to you, you figure it out. That is the most. I would be like, yo, it's over, G. Like, just the fact that she had the nerve to ask me that, it's over, man. I'll see you in the next life. No, I'm over it. No, bro, you ain't gonna tell me no nonsense like that. I'm all right, but he's out. I'm like, when you about to be out of this world? Just roll her out. Nah, G. Nah, it's I ain't rocking with that. That's some crazy stuff. And she knew. That's the thing. And I know I might sound like really, dude, but people know who they could pull that type of stuff with. Like, she knows that he's a sucker. Like, she knows it. That's why she was like, yo, do you mind if I could? Because she knows there's a possibility he would say yes. That's legit why. At the end of the day, no. If he says yes, you're doing it. I don't know what you're doing it for, but it said some weird stuff, bro. That it might be because you might be into it. But go ahead.
And see, I'm not gonna lie to you, okay? I thought really long and hard about it.
Okay.
It was just a build-up. I definitely agree with you.
Okay.
You cannot ask me that. It's like, okay, this is what my whole issue with that whole thing is. Okay. Now, people have been in relationships. There were good things, bad things, ups and downs, and all types of relationships.
Yeah.
Whatever happened between you and that person, you guys are no longer together.
Yeah.
You now met the man of your dreams, or the man who can make most of your dreams come true. Because you know what? Not everybody's perfect. You don't get everything with everybody, obviously, because she had what mind blowing, body numbing sex with the ex, with the husband. It's okay. My thing is, you like this is one of those things. You have 24 hours to live. What do? And people be like, I'll rob a bank. I'll do this. I'll do this. When in reality, I will just spend my time with my loved ones because why am I going to do anything else? Like just be with my loved ones and that's it. So for her to say to me, let me have sex with my ex one last time because it was amazing. Like, you know what? If that's what you want and that's going to make you happy, go for it. But you're no longer my wife. So y'all can continue whatever relationship you guys are going to have.
Exactly.
But we are not going to do this. Like you came to me. We decided to be devoted to each other for whatever reason. We never had a discussion about having open relationships, having sex with others. None of that. So don't bring this to me now because you're dying. No, that's not fair. That's very selfish as well. Like, so what you're saying is?
No, I was just saying, or if you said yes, hypothetically, what you could do is wait until she's like bedridden or in a wheelchair and then like have sex in front of her. Like you just bring somebody, she can't leave anyways, right? Payback's a bitch, bro. Payback's a bitch. That's all I'm trying to say. We even now. I'm just saying we even. No?
I am not playing no type of games like that with nobody.
Hey man.
Not at all.
I'm just saying we even, bro. No, but realistically, all I'm trying to say is if that was brought up to me, I'd be like, you're already dead to me. I would just be like, you don't have to worry about 9 months from now. It's cool. I already bored you. It's all like real talk, personally. But I'm just saying.
Man, I go out my phone for it. Hell to the no, to the no. That's the song that's gonna be playing. Like, no, you're not going to. And I don't care how miserable you think you're gonna be. You'll get over it.
I play
you haven't had sex with him for 10 years, unless you were having sex with him. But no, I'm not gonna give you permission to do that.
What's that song they play at all Black funerals? Grace. What is it?
Amazing Grace. Thank you.
That's all I'm gonna play. As soon as she's like, I want to have sex with my ex. I'm like, Amazing Grace. I was like, I used to love you. I miss you. I'll miss you so much.
But yeah, no, definitely not. But then I was talking to another one of our boys, and he gave me an answer. He's like, yeah, I would. He's like, why not? It's her last couple of days. He's like, after she's gone, I'll be with a million other girls. Like, he's like, why not give her what she wants? And I was like, you know what? I respect your answer because, I mean, that's honest and it's real. I personally wouldn't do it, but hey, I'm not mad at anybody who will do it.
Real. That's the thing. I think that it's more thinking with a clear mind with no real emotion attached to it right now. That's how I see it. Like, I think us being honest and real would be like, hell no, because that's how we would feel. Like, me thinking clear mind, be like, of course. Like, why not? You know what I mean? Last wishes. Realistically, me being honest with myself and most people, and he might be one of the exception, but most people would be like, no, like, what? Like you just said, your last amount of time, you should want to be with me. It's more the hurt about it. You know what I mean? It's like your wish is to be with your ex and enjoy us, you know, that type of a moment with your ex. It's not about your wish. It's about you don't want that from me. You know what I mean? That's supposed to be your life partner. So I get what you're saying, and maybe, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, that's more thinking with a clear mind of like, yo, you know what? We're adults. I respect you. No, realistically, my mind goes back to survival mode. Be like, no, you got 9 months to live, bro. It ain't gonna be with me if you want to go that route. I'm just saying.
I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't say yes either.
But now, with that being said, you know me. I'm adamant about men and women are different but equal. You know what I mean? Different but equal. So if a man, 9 months to live, and he asked his wife if he could have a threesome, as his dying wish. Do you think that is crazy and unbearable in the same fashion?
Yes.
Okay.
Like, once again, if I have that much time to live, I'm not trying to spend it with anybody else. I'm trying to soak in all the time I have with you guys,
Hmm.
family, friends. I'm not trying to do anything to make anybody feel like, yeah, I know they love, like, question my loyalty and my love. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, okay, he loves me, but wanted to have a threesome? Like, okay. And no, no.
Okay. Okay. I feel you on that too. Like, you know what I'm saying? I fully agree. I'm just saying, I just, it's looked at differently. You get what I mean? Like, generally,
Hmm.
it is. And that's just being honest.
So now, I'm gonna ask you a scenario. It's a two-part question. So there is a pastor who counsels people going through relationship problems. So he counsels them, and everything's everything. Come to find out that his wife left him because he is hiring prostitutes and paying prostitutes to fulfill him sexually. So the two-part question. First question is, do you think he is, I guess, fit to give advice if this is what he's been doing?
All right. So, this funny question, right? Because I always have these thoughts as far as, can someone do something that they're not, can someone give advice on something that they're not necessarily practicing, right? And I think you can. And that's what's crazy about it, because it's just like basketball or NFL coaches or whatnot. Half of them, 90% of them, probably never played the sport or never played it at a high level, but they've studied it so much that they could teach you what to do. They just are not able to do it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And by that 90%, I was totally off on my numbers, but a good amount of them, maybe about a good 30 to 40%, are better at coaching than ever playing, right? They're able to see the game, know the game, be knowledgeable about the game, but they're not necessarily able to do it themselves. And it's the same thing I could see with relationships. Like, I could point out a flaw, see how you guys may be able to work together, but I'm not able to necessarily implement it into my life. Now, that's why. So I can't see him still being fit. Would I want him to help me at all? No, I wouldn't. Because I wouldn't be able to trust him and his mindset. You know what I mean? Just on the fact that, hey, you're legit going outside of your marriage to try to find happiness when I'm trying to ask you to help me stay in my marriage. So I just think that I wouldn't trust it, but I do think that it is possible for someone to tell you what might not be working or what might have ruined their relationship and to help you fix yours. I think that is very possible. But I personally still wouldn't take that advice. How about you?
Hold on. Second question. Why do you think he goes for prostitutes? Like, why do you think he's paying prostitutes?
Because he does not want a relationship. He does not want it to come back to the church or to the people. So it's a transaction. It's majority of the reason why anyone uses prostitutes, because they just want whatever they want and no strings attached. And that's why. So that's why I'm saying he's using it strictly for, or he could just have a sickness. Who knows? But I'm just saying, generally, the reason why most men go to prostitutes that are in relationships or married is because they do not want any strings attached. They don't want someone to get feelings. They don't want, you know what I mean, someone calling them. They don't want someone wanting their time. They don't want someone getting pregnant. They don't want any of that sort. They just want the do, and that's it. So therefore, I'm assuming that's why he just wants to have his cake and eat it too. He wants the marriage lifestyle, whatever, the way he's presented in church, the way he's giving out advice, but he still wants his sexual gratification somewhere else. And the best way to do it, transaction, here's your money, we did whatever, never talk to me again. That's what I see.
Until next week when I want to have sex with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How about you?
My whole take on it now.
Yeah.
My whole take on that whole situation is, I mean, I feel like, yeah, he is able to give advice
Mhm.
because, like you said, people can give advice. It's like you looking at your friend's relationship and
Yeah,
you see it's bad and it's horrible, and
yeah,
they come to you and they ask you for advice, and you can tell them everything they could do. But then at the same time, it's like, am I implementing this in my own relationship? Not really.
exactly. Yeah,
But I know I should take my own advice. I know I should do this, but I'm really mad right now and I really don't want to.
yeah,
So, I mean, there's different reasons why people don't take their own advice, but I believe he can give advice even though he's doing whatever he's doing.
yeah.
Would I continue wanting to go to him? You know what? At the end of the day, what he does in the comfort of his own home or behind closed doors,
Hmm.
it should not affect me.
Yeah,
So I want to say I'd possibly still continue to go see him,
yeah,
but because I'm human, I probably might be like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna see you anymore because I
yeah,
mean, yeah, that's foul what you're doing.
yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. Back to the paying prostitute thing.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it's a transactional thing. Now, growing up, we weren't big churchgoers, so I can't tell you about the Bible. I can't tell you ins and outs of it.
Mhm.
But I feel the reason why he goes to prostitutes is because
Mary Magdalene.
no.
Okay. I was
I'll
about
go
to say you
follow it.
going deep with it. You going deep with it.
I mean, it's kind of getting deep.
Okay.
So
Pause. Yeah.
honor and honor and direct, honor and respect your spouse, your wife, your husband, whatever.
Mm.
So because he's married to his wife and he has to honor and respect her, he himself feels like, yo, I want to do some like wild, like some kinky stuff, but I have to honor and respect my wife because a lot of the times people who read the Bible, they read it verbatim, word for word, and they take it literally as it is said in the Bible. When interpretation, it can be interpreted differently. Like
Okay.
um, Seven-Day Adventists, they say you can't wear jewelry and you can't go to the movie theaters. Now, they say you can't wear jewelry because part of the Bible where they took their jewelry and melted it down and made a false god and they were worshiping it. So Seven-Day Adventists take that as, well, you shouldn't wear jewelry because basically jewelry leads to bad things. And when it's like, no, that's why they did it back then. But
Mhm.
for me to wear jewelry now, it's not because I'm going to worship false gods or false so
Yeah.
whatever. And then going to the movies, they're like, you shouldn't go to the movies. Now, pardon me. Back in them times, like the cinema or something they used to call it, it was like brothel houses.
Mhm.
So or brothels. So that's why they put the two together. So they're like, yeah, you shouldn't go to the cinema. But it's like, no, it's a different thing. It's if I'm watching TV at home, it's like me watching a big TV in another
Yeah.
like auditorium. So it's stuff like that where people will take things literally and say, oh, well, you can't do this because this is what it says in the Bible.
Yeah.
So with him honoring your wife and stuff like that, I believe he feels like, well, I can't do what I really want to do because I have to honor and respect my wife. And I can't say, some people, they're into the choking, the spanking, the biting.
You
They're
get
into all
passionate when
types of
you
stuff.
talk about these things.
I do. But I'm saying, like, people are into this stuff. And
Yeah.
then he might even be one of those people who be like, well, I wanted to go down on me, but
Oh,
I don't
Sam,
want it
you
to kiss
go.
my
You get.
children. Well, no, but he might be like, I don't want it to kiss my children with those lips, so I'm not going to do that. But then if he pays a prostitute to do it,
Mhm.
yeah, she'll do whatever he wants.
And she
He
can
can get
kiss her
off, and
children.
exactly. So this is why I'm saying this is
So
probably
wrong.
why he's getting the prostitutes,
Yeah, and that
and
could be
that's
it.
what
No,
my
and you
theory
know
is.
what? That could be it, and that's even worse. To be honest, the way I was thinking about it is, da da da, maybe transaction, no strings attached, boom. And if that is it, that's still bad. But I'm just saying. But if you're just legit trying to live a second lifestyle and not trying to be honest with your desires and your needs, I think that's
Mm.
worse. You know what I mean?
But
As
see,
far as go ahead.
a lot of people who grew up in the church or
Mhm.
grew up like back in the day,
Mhm.
everyone was having sex, but nobody was doing anything.
Mhm.
If that makes any sense. Like, oh, well, I don't go down. I don't do this. I don't do that. No one did anything, but everybody's having sex. Okay, cool. Now, fast forward to the era where you have people liberated and free and just talking openly what they do and this and that. Now, everybody does this stuff.
Yeah.
But them growing up in the church and becoming a pastor, and possibly their parents were pastors and they told them that this is wrong and this is disgusting, you shouldn't do this. So maybe they're having an internal conflict of, I want to be able to live freely and do what I want to do, but I can't do this because it's wrong, and I've been told it was wrong by family members, my parents, the church, so I can't do these things. But he has that desire where he wants to let it out. So that's the only way he feels, okay, I can do this and I guess not feel ashamed or bad. But
and definitely some internal conflict. There's no way that story is not happening with internal conflict. So
yeah,
I fully agree. But that's still a wild story, man. And that sucks. That sucks for the wife. And whomsoever is getting, again, advice from, and because now you still, regardless, we're human, you would question, like, you know what I mean? Like, especially if he was giving good advice. It's like, is that what he's been doing?
That's the thing.
Life?
If he's giving good, but that's the thing. If he's giving good advice, he's giving good advice. Like, I mean, if he was giving shaky advice and I heard this, then I'd be like,
but human nature will make you question if that's what brought him to the place he's at now. Like what he's telling me to do, is by him telling me, hey, always listen. I'm just saying, for an example, if he says, hey, always listen to your wife, and if she says this, and just if it's da-da-da and da-da-da, if that's whatever, and then now he's all sexually frustrated and hating whatever, his life is just like, maybe I could have asked instead of just keeping it to myself. He told me to keep it to myself, and he had her having fought, but now it's like, was he keeping it to himself and living that life? So just giving an example. I'm just saying.
So, question for you. Now, I already know how you are, so I mean, I already know the answer. But suppose that happened to you. Do you, like, if you've been married to your wife for several years? And, well, obviously you have, and you find out that she was stepping out on you, do you forgive and forget, or do you?
Bruh, cocaine's a hell of a drug. I can see, man. I'm ready to bounce on a dying lady. You know what I mean? And you're asking me if I'm gonna forgive and forget, bruh. Nah, it's over, man. It's over, bro. No matter how many times how long we've been together, bro. It's over, man.
But see, this is what my problem is. Because now, once again, if we're boyfriend, girlfriend, and stuff like this happens, I can walk away from you. Like, you know what? It might hurt, but I'll walk away. If we took that vow before God, I don't know if I can easily just be like, you know what? It's a wrap and I'm gone. I think I would have to fight for it. Like, you're definitely going to have to get counseling because you're going to have to fight through something. And then my question is, okay, I understand the stigma with a lot of people are like, I can't do that to my wife. Oh, I respect her too much. I can't do that. Like, I mean,
can't do what to your wife?
Can't do stuff to your wife. Like, you just really want me to get
like, I didn't know what you meant by I can't do that. I thought you were talking about like
passionate about it again.
Okay, so you're saying get hot and bothered, but so you're saying if like, okay, like in certain relationships it could be because the person is not open enough, so their partner is sexually frustrated, and then their reasoning is I can't do that and da. Right? So I get what you're saying, and people that think that way, they need to get counseling in general. And I'm not saying like certain things might be out of the realm. So I'm not saying everything's for everybody. That's also not what I'm saying. But for the most part, your partner is supposed to be someone you're supposed to feel completely comfortable with, both parties. Right? So at the end of the day, if you're not feeling completely comfortable, there needs to be some sort of an understanding and reasoning why, and working together to get to a place where you would be comfortable. So at the end of the day, I agree with you. There should be some sort of, you know what I mean? You need to go see somebody, a specialist, to work on it. But as far as stepping out because of those reasons, I still think is unacceptable personally. I couldn't. And how I am personally, if I cut off, I cut off. And like something like that for me is an instant cut off. You get what I'm trying to say? Like I just couldn't look at the person the same. Like I would be disgusted by the fact that they would be able to, like, it's just like you really did that to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I take it as a personal attack. Like I know you went to go get your fling on, you enjoyed yourself, but for me it's a personal attack. Like you did that to me. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I would be able to, I think, walk away regardless of the time. But
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like that one, I really and truly, I don't know if I could walk away. I would really, once again, unless that person's like, "Yo, I want nothing to do with you. You disgust me." Like, ugh. Like
that's what she
it's
said.
one of those things.
That's what she said. What she did, what she did. That's what she said because she knew what the repercussions would be. So that's what she said.
I guess.
Think about it. She was willing to lose you.
Mm.
She said that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that wraps up this show. How you feel about it?
Once again, this is Cuz the Internet podcast. You can follow us on all platforms: YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, as well as Cuz the Internet at CuzTheInternet@gmail.com. Once again, I'm your host, Trey.
And I'm your Jose. And remember, if it's on the internet, we may talk about it. Hey, yo.
I...